All praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Rakakadash. All praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Salakia, man, Salakia. All praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be another video attacking the points of these scoffers against the doctrine that we believe in, man. Right? And how they try and make out like Deuteronomy 28 and 68 has been fulfilled already, right? But then that's their opinion. That's their opinion that it's been fulfilled in the way that they say it is. Just like how it's our opinion that it was fulfilled in the way that we say it is, right? Their opinion don't make it true, and our opinion don't make it true. The time's going to show of who is revealed as being the true Israelites, right? And this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And they shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now, we say that was fulfilled in the Atlantic slave trade, right? And I personally have not heard any of these small hats bring this out for themselves, right? I've seen Christians stepping in to try and say, oh, this was fulfilled by them back then in Josephus and blah, 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 whatever they want to try and come with, right? But I've never heard the small hats themselves. I've never personally seen none of these small hats say that themselves. Neither have I ever heard any of these small hats say that they're cursed, right? They never said that they was cursed when they went through that HLOLO event. They never said that was because of the curses. Neither are they saying that anything that's happening to them now is because of the curses, right? They don't even say that they're cursed. We do, but they don't. So why is it that all you Christians are trying to come in and step in to try and tell them that they're cursed when they ain't even saying it? But then you're trying to tell us that we ain't cursed when we're saying we are cursed? Why are you so desperate to try and make us think that we ain't cursed? But then at the same time, some of you Christians want to say everyone's under these curses. But how can everyone be going through these curses when, in order for Deuteronomy 28 verse 68 to be happening, somebody had to enslave someone? So the person enslaving ain't cursed. And this is where your doctrine's all over the place, because there's a bigger push. It's clear as day that there's a big push to make us not be the Israelites. Anyone else can make a claim, but whenever we make one, then everyone's all of a sudden stepping in to try and be like, no, you ain't. But whenever somebody else makes a claim, they're like, oh, that's possible, I never really viewed it that way, You never said. Like a guy called Andy can just show up at work one day with a kipper on his head, KIPPAH, right? And they'll be like, "Oh, you never told me you was a," you know what I mean? But if we show up with a garment and fringes on, they'll be calling the nearest emergency number, trying to get us arrested, or twitching, not trying to give us eye contact. That's what they'd do. Right now, like I said before, they try and make a big push to try and say that Deuteronomy 28 verse 68 happened back in Josephus, but they can't prove that happened to who they're saying it happened to. They can't prove that. So let's say that event did happen. They still can't prove that also didn't happen to us. Because where were we at that time? They can't prove that never happened to us. So that event possibly could have happened, but that don't mean it didn't happen to us, does it? But they want us to believe that event already took place, but we don't have to believe what they say. Just like how they don't have to believe what we say. Right? Now, let's go to some more curses, because they'll try and be like, oh, that been fulfilled already. Okay. And their claim is that it got fulfilled with that scripture. And that's fair enough. But what about the other curses though? Right? Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things. And you shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Them small hats people, yeah, they have got their own police force in certain parts of the world. They got their own police force to where in their neighborhood, the ambulance and the police force show up faster because they're them. That's not having to go to your enemy for the want of all things. They got their own shops. They got their own streets. They got their own everything. And they got your industry as well. That's not the state. That's not the state of a people that's having to go to their enemy for the want of all things. That's the state of a people that seeming to be winning, even though they're wicked. Because they've got, someone might say, oh, they've got this because they're blessed and they're the children of Israel, but they ain't keeping the laws, though, are they? The whole nation. They ain't keeping the laws. And if you go and do enough research, you'll find that they don't want to keep them. They've got a code word for eating pork, right? And when I've mentioned this before on videos in the past, man, on channels that don't even exist anymore, they deleted the video. They got the video, they took the video down, man, because it was too hot for them, what was being mentioned. They just snatched the video off the internet to never be seen again, and snatched the channel away and all that too. And there's been many channels. I'm not trying to make it like, oh, I'm some crazy, like, I'm just saying that they don't want to hear these points. There's been enough channels that brothers used to be subscribed to and all that, that them channels don't exist anymore. That was going in and pointing out the hypocrisy of these people, man, exposing that they're not who they say they are. Right, and let's go to another one. Let's go here, verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, with Yahweh shall lead thee. Now, that can't be talking about them small hats people, right? Because as soon as you say anything about them, they've got a certain buzzword that they like to activate. As soon as you say one thing, as soon as you tell them one thing about themselves, they activate that, anti this word, anti this, October this, October that. As soon as you say one thing, it's like they might say something, you'll be like, oh, but that's not, oh, we've been through a lot, you don't understand. We've been through so much, you don't understand. You're anti. That's a very bit of an, you know what I mean? As soon as you say anything, they can step on your toe, ouch, oh, you're anti or something. They don't want to hear nothing. They want to tell you about all these calendar dates and all that. October this. Mate, you know how many Octobers we've had? Through our nation, mate. And what about January's? We could pull out every single, based on the things that you Edomites have did to us, we'd be able to put out every single day of the calendar. Every single month of the calendar, right? Every single day of the calendar. And we'd be able to break it down to increments. At 01 on January the 1st, you did this. At 0, 1, and 1, you did that. So if you want it to be about who's oppressed, it's us, right? We'd be able to break it down to them second by second with what the hell you've put us through. Never mind 1 October, 1 day in October. Mate, we'd be able to give you 1,001 days in October for what you've did to us. And we'd be able to give you the day after that October that you want to complain about so much. So never mind October. What about what you've did to people, man? What about what you've did? Them small hats don't say that they're cursed. But somehow these Christians will fly out the handle, and anything other than what we're saying, they pretty much, the first thing that they found that was opposite to what we said, ran with that and chose to believe that instead. You know what I mean? Oh, these black people are saying that it's Atlantic slave trade, and that sounds kind of true. So let me search any website. The website could be dodgy as hell. But if it says that it's not, if it says something different than what these black men are saying, then I'm going to run with that. Oh, that was fulfilled in Josephus. The website's crusty as hell. Some crusty website with no sources or anything. Could just have one line. That was fulfilled in Josephus. And then they'll just believe that and be like, yeah, phew. Because I was starting to think, you know what I mean? When they haven't proved that the Josephus thing weren't us anyway. They can't prove that. And they can't prove that it was those people. They ain't showed no pictures of that taking place. They ain't showed none. But we know what happened in the Atlantic slave trade, though, and we know who did it too. We know who did that too, man. Right? Let's go. Let's go to. Okay, here's one. Deuteronomy chapter 28 in verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Can people say that that's happening to everyone? Would it be possible for me as a so-called black man to set up a shop in an Ishmaelite neighborhood and just reap their wealth? Or are they gonna deliberately not go to me and go to their cousin brother and all that? What they want to come with that madness? You know what I mean? Are they gonna do all that? They ain't gonna rock with me. Whereas Ishmaelites be setting up Dixie this, Dixie that, Pandos, you know what I mean? Fake Nando's, Peri Berries, you know what I mean? Pixie chicken, Dixie chicken with one X, Dixie chicken with two X's, Dixie chicken with two Y's, you know what I mean? Peri Berry chicken, yeah? Chicken Max, Chicken Hot, Morley's, Sawley's, Dawley's, everything around the neighborhood, and they're winning. Weave shop this, weave that. Janet's Weave, Anderson's Weave House, Sadji's Weave House, Mr. Singh's Weave House. Yeah. Winning it up, winning it off. Everyone knows it's not possible for us to set up a curry goat store stand. You know what I mean? Salakia, man. It's not, it's Salakia. Hey, I'm thinking about it, man. Never have any ingredients, Benjamin. But it's not possible for us to set up a curry goat stand in a Edomite neighborhood and just start setting it off. That's not gonna happen. Or to set up a fish and chips in an Edomite neighborhood and win, or set up one of them nail salons and it. You know what I mean? Like women like getting their damn nails done so much. It's not possible for us to set up one of them in the Edomite neighborhood and win. Maybe a Moabite can do that. I've seen Moabites be able to do that, but an Israelite can't do it. And if an Edomite woman decided to set up a nail salon in the Edomite neighborhood instead of the Chinese woman, then they're gonna go to the Edomite woman. And especially among the small hats, you ain't setting up nothing in their neighborhood and winning. They ain't gonna go there. So they ain't cursed. They ain't under that curse. But if they was under the curses, they wouldn't have a choice because they'd have to go to their enemy for the want of all things. So people want to try and make out like, oh, Josephus, it was fulfilled because they just want to make whatever we're saying not true. But they can't prove that the thing that they're talking about in Josephus didn't happen to us. And the thing that happened in the Atlantic slave trade, we know happened to us. So either way, they can't prove their point. They just don't. They want to try and make that thing that happened back then. Oh, that's because of curses, right? But the thing that happened to us in the Atlantic slave trade. Oh, everyone put people in slavery over different times in the life. But what happened in the Josephus thing? They want to try and say, oh, that's because of a curse. But what happened to you, blackies? That's just because that's what you deserve, really, at the end of the day. But what happened to them? That's just a Josephus situation of Deuteronomy 28:68. But what happened to us in the Atlantic slave trade that made people the Atlantic slave trade made America, and it pretty much made the world as we see it right now. Without that happening, the world would not be as it is right now, and America would not be what it is. And people can try and chat all the smoke they want to say and say that it would. No, it wouldn't. America, the Atlantic slave trade and the taking down of the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, right, caused for the most destructive and wicked place that's ever existed on the earth, the most corrupt country to ever existed on the earth to exist, and that's where it got its wealth from. And you think that that's not Deuteronomy 28:68 fulfilled, and that's not the place that's spiritually Sodom and Egypt? You people need to get a grip, man. I know you hate our guts that much, right? And if I was in your position, I'd lie as well. But the lies are so clear that they're lies. You people ain't gonna be able to do nothing, man. It's clear that you're lying. Okay, here's one. Deuteronomy 28:54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. I ain't seen no so-called small hat woman running up her mouth at her man on the street. Oi, Dwayne! Nah, man! Nah, you little horsey clot. I ain't seen none of that. But I've damn sure seen Eve running her chops, firing her mouth off, talking up to the so-called black man any damn chance she gets. On TV, off TV, in real life, on the phone to a man when she's on a bus, on the phone to her when she's on the train, chatting about her man to their female friend, chatting smoke, running their mouth off. But who's ever seen a so-called Jewish woman, you see, there's that buzzword, man. Who's ever seen one of them? You know what I mean? Who's ever seen one of them running up their mouth to their man on the street? Or seen the men arguing with each other, really? No. They got a tight-knit group where they don't really say much about anything. And when they do talk, it does get exposed that they're not who they say they are. But they don't really say much. Neither do they allow anyone else to say anything. Because they got that buzzword that they created where if you say anything, they activate that word. They just pull that. They want to talk about, people want to talk about race cards in this world. Mate, has anyone pulled out a more, you know what I mean? You people have got a lot of nerve, man, to ever say anything to us. And some of you scoffers, man, wearing Kangals and that, yeah, and spectacles. Some of you people are some of the biggest demons that I've ever seen in my life. Well, and I would hope to never meet any of you in real life, man. Some of you wicked people, man. You look like demons in my eyes. Literally. You've got a demonic look in your faces. Right? And you've got one scripture that you're used when so-called black people are saying that they're Israelites. But then you don't use the same scripture when anyone else says it. So really, you're full of it. Really, you're not a man, you're not a godly man. Because a godly man is going to use the same scripture every single time that the same situation occurs. He ain't going to say, oh, Deuteronomy 20, Israel, everyone's cursed when some so-called black people say that they're under curses, but then if the other people say that they're cursed, you're going to say, yeah, they are. Yeah, it's hard what you went through. It's hard what you went through in life. You're not going to laugh about the Atlantic slave trade and make a parody talking about slavery in the USA, bro, but then at the same time trying to talk about how you don't want man to burn in hell. Yeah, right. Yeah, right, man. Oh, I'm doing this because I don't want you all to burn in hell. Yeah, right, man. If hell really did exist, you would be there going by every day, throwing some more oil in there. If we if we was in hell, if it really did exist, you think we really actually believe that you like us and that you hope for the best of our life? Yeah, right, man. You're just mad that we've slowly you've seen us become the authority on the Bible. And when you try and come with your little Christianity madness, people will start questioning you now. And then you can't question them. You can't answer the questions. So instead of learning and having your own doctrine to teach people, you're trying to stop the doctrine that we have. Instead of having your own doctrine. When Hebrew Israelites came out and started saying all the things that they were saying to everyone, right? The Christian church should have been saying, oh, don't ignore what they're saying because we already told you about all of this stuff, remember? Stick to what we've been telling you. But they didn't tell them nothing about certain things. There were certain parts of the Bible that they didn't have an answer to and still don't now. Yet they got the nerve to question our answers. Man, don't tell us what it ain't when you ain't got a doctrine yourself. You ain't even got it yourself. How big of a clowns can these people be, man? How deceptive can these people be? Here's one. Deuteronomy 28 verse 60. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of the law, then will Yahweh bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. Now, Jake's known for catching a plague or two around here, man. We're known for catching hell in our health. Our nation is known for that. Every single disease that's ever existed has been somehow placed on our people all the time on earth. Can that be said for everyone else on the earth? Since they want to try and make it like everyone just everything all the time. But then when the moment any of these nations get angry with us, they're quick to try and throw the Atlantic slave trade up in our face and try and use it as a talking point to laugh as to why we don't know who we are. When that actually proves who we are. Dummies. The Atlantic slave trade proves that we're the Israelites. But you'll say, oh, nah, that was Josephus. Well, that's what you say. You saying that don't mean that we have to believe that. We believe that it was the Atlantic slave trade. You can believe it was in Josephus all you want. But we don't believe that. And even if it was, prove that that wasn't us as well. Prove it. Right? Can you prove that? No, you can't. In fact, that would further prove that that was us as well. Because we've got another situation afterwards, thousands of years after that, that also was slavery on ships. Have the small hats got that? No, they don't. But when you're desperate to lie, when you've made yourself set to lie, you're never going to tell the truth. You're always going to just, whatever your enemy says, you're just going to have to lie. And that's the position that they're in. Just lying, man. And I wanted to just quickly do this video on this topic because it's annoying, man. That these people try and make out like Deuteronomy 28 verse 68 happened in Josephus, but then at the same time, these people trying to say that the curses of Deuteronomy 28 happened to everyone. I've heard people say this. Right, and I'm going to end the video there. Shalom.